Labour is in turmoil as Keir Starmer faces a rebellion of up to 80 furious MPs over his cuts to benefits. The benefits bill is set to climb past £100 billion. Furious Brits have been demanding cuts since videos showing claimants' entitlements went viral online.
So I'm just on my way to the job centre, right? And I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who pays their taxes, because without you, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, the fact that I can still go out about my day and still do my things and get paid for not doing absolutely anything because of others who are working and paying their taxes. I don't think I've ever said thank you. So, genuinely speaking, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much and keep up the good work.
Somebody please tell me why I'd ever get a job when this is my weekly universal credits that I get. I mean, why would I get a job? I get your monthly wage in a week. So why would I put myself out and get a job? I mean, I'm living my best life. Hell.
Figures show that some people on incapacity benefits can actually earn more than if they were working full-time earning the living wage. More than 9 million people are out of work, and in areas with seemingly low unemployment, a majority of the population can actually be on sickness benefit and be out of work, because drawing the benefit will mean you don't show up on unemployment figures. A group of Labour MPs recognised these issues and have signed an open letter to reform the welfare state. Liz Kendall has promised to get Britain working.
We've got, I think, a broken welfare system. It's not working for anyone. It's not working for the people who depend on it, and it's not working for taxpayers. The only way that you get the welfare bill on a more sustainable footing is by getting more people into work.
Has your department carried out an impact assessment of how many people will be affected by these cuts?
I'm not talking about that because my objective is to...
Is that a yes or a no?
My objective is to get people into work, into good work.
Yet up to 80 MPs could rebel. Keir Starmer appears to have been so spooked the vote on his welfare cuts has been delayed by a week.
We know a few things about the country. We know that the national debt's about 100% of GDP. We know that the tax burden's heading for a record high. We know public spending is heading for a record high. And we also know that the top 1% already contribute 30% of income tax, along with a range of other taxes. We also know that we're going to have to increase spending, particularly on defence, probably to 3% of GDP, and probably to more, and at the same time we have incredibly anemic growth. So we need to find cuts somewhere. On this point about fat to trim, we could argue about the terminology, but the reality is that benefit spending on just people in work has risen from 36 billion before the pandemic to 48 billion now. That's heading to 65 billion by the end of the decade. This is an increase that has not been seen in comparable countries. We are almost unique in the developed world for a massive surge in the number of people of working age who are claiming benefits. Every other country has seen a return to their pre-pandemic status. We haven't. That's clearly a problem. I don't think it's because the British people are uniquely lazy. It's because of the incentive structure that we provide them.
Samuel?
No, I think that we need to, as I said, look at giving the country a pay rise. We need to be investing in our workforce, not cutting away at the edges. And it's interesting as well to see...
But how do we do that? How do we do that?
By giving the country a pay rise.
Well, we haven't got the... Where's the money going to come from? I mean, the point is, to get the country to work, we need to grow the economy. Well, if you're going to force employers and others to fork out more money...
Well, I mean, yeah, no, sure, we can talk about that. And what we could say in this country is tax avoidance costs this country billions every single year. In fact, it's estimated that about £500 billion of UK wealth is stashed away in tax havens. What we need to be doing is closing those loopholes which make that a possibility.
One Labour MP openly criticised the Prime Minister on live TV.
Cuts to benefits don't make jobs, they only make more poverty in our society, and that's why I'm very worried about some of the things I'm reading.
How many MPs might ever vote against welfare cuts?
That's very difficult for me to say. I wouldn't want to predict.
Would you?
I want to see what the detail is.
Well, the detail is cuts.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a statement on Wednesday where we'll have more detail. And I think if we're going to make poor people poorer, then there'll be a number of MPs who won't be able to sign up to that.
Yep. Does this feel like a Conservative plan pitched by Liz Kendall?
it feels like it could be a rerun of austerity, and I'm worried about that.
Yet some people fume that MPs themselves are a burden on the state. Liz Kendall, the minister tasked with bringing in these cuts, was criticised for her large expenses bill. Charities have signed an open letter calling on the government to rethink. And one long COVID sufferer told The Guardian he was too poorly to work.
I'm coming to the end of the road with work at the moment. Probably in a few weeks I'll lose my job. It's not just about the job, it's what that says about my health. I'm just so poorly that I can't work.
But now more than a quarter of income tax is going on sickness benefits. Charlie Mullins says the UK just can't afford it.
Well, look, we're running out of money. There's going to be more people on benefits than what are paying into the income tax system. Yes, look, I'm not here to knock the people that genuinely need to be on benefits, that are generally sick, but let's not kid anybody. You know, we've got so many that are just, shall we say, playing the mental wealth card, I think I call it. You know, a lot of people are just taking the country for a ride, and it's just got to a state now that it's got to stop. And the way it's heading, we just haven't got enough money. So it's not a case of being difficult to people. It's now a case of we've got to get our work ethics back and get back in the workplace and start contributing to the country instead of draining it. But, you know, the amount they say it's going to go up another 100 billion by the end of the decade, it's just crazy. You know what I mean? It's whichever way you look at it, we can't afford it. We need to do something about it. And I'm just going to be blunt as I can be with it without being rude. The lazy people that are on it, that shouldn't be on it, need to go to work so that we can give more money to the genuine people.
Well, these are extraordinary numbers to look at when we look at them in black and white. We now spend more on disability benefits than we spend on our armed forces. About 20% more goes on disability benefits than goes on our armed forces. Disability benefits have ballooned by 40% between 2013 and 2025 this year. I mean, either we have become incredibly disabled as a country, and many, many more people have become disabled over the course of the last 12 years, or there are people taking the system for a ride. And I would suggest that just by simple process of which is more likely, that suddenly, you know, millions upon millions more people are disabled than before, or that people have worked out how to cheat a system. I suggest that the latter is more likely.
Yeah, and it's also the DWP stretching the definition of what it means to be disabled. So now it's things like ADHD as well, Charlie.
Well, that's exactly what's happening. I mean, why should we have more sort of sick culture now, more sort of disabled people now than ever? I mean, you know, they go on about stress, they go on about mental health, but them things have been around for years. I mean, it's just, look, we've opened the floodgates to allow lazy people or lazy culture to claim more money for sitting at home and doing nothing. And, you know, stop the benefits and it will resolve many, many problems. But please, like, I'm not saying don't look after the genuine people. I'm probably going to be rude and say stop the ponces that shouldn't be having the money and make them go to work, or let them just sign them off of it. Just don't pay them no more. I mean, you know, we're attracting everybody from all over the world now that can claim benefits, claim sickness, claim disabilities, and it's ruining it for the genuine people. You know, a lot of this is down to laziness. And I have to say, this mental wealth card that they play is just ridiculous. I mean, you know, it's obvious there's nothing wrong with most of these people. The genuine ones, you can tell, the 18-year-old, 16, 17, I've got stressed, I've been up all night on the computer, been out raving it, but they put that down to mental health problems.
Ex-Labour MP Lloyd Russell-Moyle dismissed the reports of a sizable rebellion.
This is really interesting. It's the first major rebellion Labour in government seems to be facing. If it were 80, that's beginning to reach the level where the government's majority is under threat. It's getting towards that. Would you be worried if you were Keir Starmer?
Well, I would be worried if 80 were rebelling. Yes, I don't think 80 will rebel. We have got into a difficult situation, and it's partly, I think, because of the Conservative austerity that we faced for the last 14 years, where the normal support structures have been whittled away, and all that is left is these cash payouts. And they are dehumanising, in fact, and they are not good, and they do need to be reformed and stopped. The problem is, whereas before you would say, well, we will support you with intensive training and education back into the employment market, all those adult education courses completely gone. If an adult wants to train to be a bricklayer, it's almost impossible. They have to join a daytime course in most places in this country, and with 18-year-olds, that's not a way to get people back to work. And what we need to do is get people back to work, because that benefits bill under the Conservatives has skyrocketed so much, and people have been basically warehoused, and that's no dignity for anyone. That's not
Labour Party knows its history.
Believes in work. We believe in work.
But I think the history of the Labour Party, that the great split over Ramsay MacDonald was over a cut in unemployment benefits. Do you think Keir Starmer will be looking at that history and thinking, I've got to be very careful? Or will he be thinking, I need more money for defence?
I think that he will be trying to navigate a process where he keeps most of the party together, and he will fly a number of kites to see which ones get the right reaction, and those are the policies that will come forward. These are still very tentative days so far, but I do think that Keir and Rachel will have to think about tax reform, because you can't just
reform. That means rises.
Well, I think for some things you can change how things are done. I think that we should be seeing working people being paid less tax, but the very wealthy being paid more tax. I think we should be reforming council tax bases so that councils can pay for themselves, but also it doesn't sting people who live in moderately sized houses. So it is reform, but it is also increasing the tax base.